There is chaos right now in the streets of Chicago, and it is not because of the reasons that Trump is claiming. It's not because of crime, it's not because of immigrants, and it's not because of gangs. Well, maybe it is because of gangs if you look at it from a certain perspective. If you look at Kristi Noem's Department of Homeland Security and ICE and the Texas National Guard as a kind of gang, and if you look at Trump as a kind of gang leader, I guess you could argue that the violence in the streets of Chicago right now are due to the actions of gangs. But in reality, let's be real, there is massive widespread panic and turbulence, we'll call it, in the streets of Chicago right now, not because of the people of Chicago being criminals or whatever Trump is saying, but because he has sent his armed forces in the form of Texas's National Guard, in the form of ICE, and I believe he's also planning on sending just United States federal troops straight into Chicago. Right now it's just those two parties, but I think federal troops might be next. It is really bad, and it has been for days. It's gotten some coverage, but really not enough. This is unironically what fascism looks like. They've got masked operatives breaking down doors, gassing buildings with smoke grenades, and, you know, clearing buildings to find if anyone brown is in there and lock them up. There have been a lot of clips coming out of there being like kind of a street justice situation where a mob of people yell at and embarrass the ICE agents. It'll be like two ICE agents trying to arrest a random guy who clearly poses no threat, and they'll be really rough with him, and people will start getting as much footage of them as possible. Like, your kids are going to be able to recognize you, your family's going to be able to recognize you, your friends are going to be able to recognize you. What are they going to think when they see this? How are you going to explain this to them? Do they know what you're doing? And, you know, that actually ended up working in the video. And the ICE agents left the guy alone. They literally got up, got in their car, and were scared away by the crowd of people who never laid a finger on them, but just berated them with words until they got scared and ran away, which is frankly hilarious. It goes to show that these loser LARPers joining ICE have absolutely... They have bitch in their blood. They're not badasses, right? They're internet badasses. Once it comes to the real world, unless they've got a group of guys with them wearing masks, armed with guns, they kind of fall apart, especially when they're outnumbered by a group of people who don't even pose any real threat. And if you want to see just how bad it is, I've got footage for you here. This is a video from Status Coup News called ICE Invades Latino Chicago Neighborhood, Tear Gases Random Homes. Unfortunately, nothing said in that title is inaccurate. That is exactly what we were about to see in this video. Now, before we get into this, if you're enjoying this segment and you want to support the channel, I really do appreciate it if you leave a like and a comment on the video. Each thumbs up and every comment down below boosts the channel and the algorithm. Really helps a lot, especially with how much the algorithm plays favor to far-right grift propaganda. So, thanks a lot to everybody who supports the channel. With that said, let's get into it without any further ado.
All right, so we're seeing here a home. This is on Chicago, this is in Chicago, just southwest of downtown, near the intersection of 40th and McKenzie.
They're smoke grenading entire neighborhoods here.
If you want your goggles. No, this.
For those who don't know, that's almost certainly CS gas. It's bad. I've never been exposed to any kind of CS gas myself, but I've seen people deal with it, and it looks like it's the worst ever. Like, if you ever have, like, the wind blows straight into your face when you're sitting at a campfire and all the smoke and heat goes straight into your mouth, nose, and eyes, and you take a big inhale right as it happens, and you're like, ugh, and you can't breathe or see or anything for a second? Imagine that times, like, 100. Apparently that's what CS gas is like when it's used on you. That appears to be what they're using.
This feels like a third world country.
You want to see what real independent journalism funded by the people for the people looks like?
You ever heard a story like this in America?
You're looking at it.
Congratulations.
This is legit.
Being somewhere.
This channel's pretty legit. Like, they're on the ground, actively in dangerous situations. I respect it. I've seen a lot of good videos from this channel. Melissa Mitrevsky, thanks for the $5. You went ahead and said, isn't the fascist government desperate to get ICE brown shirts? Are they, like, actively trying to, get ICE in, like, Nazi-style uniforms? I hadn't heard anything about that, but, wouldn't put it past them. Hugo Boss will now be making ICE's new uniforms.
Where mainstream media is not.
Flint, Michigan.
See you in Nevada.
Thanks to people like you, we can get the truth. Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people.
You are the man. I'm glad you're here.
For as low as 16 cents a day, you'll keep us on the ground, covering the important stories the corporate media covers up.
Holy shit.
Good job, Chicago! Good job, Chicago! Hold the fucking line right here! Right now, that's it! That's it!
Dude, some of these guys are...
From here.
Not these guys. The guys... Some of these guys are kitted up like they're ready to take on Resident Evil enemies. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you've seen in, like, the Resident Evil 7 DLC or at the end of Resident Evil 8 when Chris Redfield shows up and he's, like, head to toe in all that gear and he's got the gas mask and the helmet on. Like, that is the exact gear. Yeah, these are, like... These guys are like BSAA soldiers ready to fight Resident Evil enemies, but they're walking the streets of Chicago, suppressing the people of the city. That is some LARP. I'm pretty sure the guys in the, like, wrapped up masks are the ICE dudes, and dude, these guys are, National Guard, Texas National Guard, I'm pretty sure. Based on their outfits, that's what I'm gathering.
You're gonna feel like shit, bro. Hurting families out here. This is a shame. A shame. But don't forget, you have a family. Money talks, bullshit walks. Money hungry motherfuckers. But God bless you. I hope you get home safe to your family, baby doll.
First, the Chicago police wasn't here. They didn't have a presence. But then after a while, I guess they started coming in, and over there they formed the line on the other side, because I was on the other side as well at first.
I really gotta go to more protests. I really need to start doing, like, IRL, like, protest vlog videos, whatever you want to call them. I live in Seattle. They're kind of everywhere all the time. Like, I wouldn't have to go far to find one, I'm sure.
First, they formed a line, then people were forming a line, so it was all calm over there, but this side is a little bit more chaotic. I don't know why this side, I guess, is popping off a lot more. They formed the barricade, and then there was a scuffle between CPD and protesters, and so I guess ICE agents decided to set off some tear gas. But
so even though the fight was between CPD and protesters, yes, ICE still set off the tear gas.
Yes.
Were police prepared for that?
Right in front of police. No police officer was wearing masks. Some of them weren't wearing glasses or anything like that, any protection whatsoever. Everybody ran down Kedzie. Everybody scattered, and then now everybody's coming back in now that the gas is dissipating.
Isn't it crazy how the cops in this come off as, like, the more reasonable? You can tell the local police department doesn't want to be there, and they're actually, the way I'm interpreting this, because remember, these police officers are working for, these are Michigan police, or not Michigan, Illinois police, and so they are not part of Trump's whole operation. Like, they work for the city. And what I interpret this as, like, they're not here with, like, their big intimidating show of force to keep people back. That's not what these cops are here for. They're holding people back from getting up to the the National Guard and ICE guys that Trump has sent out, who, if these people do advance on them, they're going to start unleashing CS gas. And according to what that guy just said, the ICE guys and the National Guard guys start shooting off CS gas into the crowd while these cops are still holding their line. None of these cops are wearing riot gear or respiratory gear because they're not there to manhandle the crowd. They're like the buffer. Like, they're unironically the thin blue line between the people and military, like, violence upon the people here. Because remember, these guys, the cops here, Rare W, they're working for the city. They're not on Trump's side here. they are probably almost certainly here to protect these people from violence coming from Trump's troops he ordered there. I could be wrong, but that's what I would imagine is the case, because right now the mayor and the rest of, like, the elected leadership in the city, including the sheriff, I believe, they're not on board with this whole ICE raid thing. They consider Trump to be engaging in an invasion.
Everybody scattered, and then now everybody's coming back in now that the gas is dissipating a little bit. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's only been escalating more and more. They've been trying to push us back, but every time they push us back, we get our feet back and stuff. So it's just crazy.
So when you say push forward,
this guy, by the way, this guy is just hoping, just fucking hoping the crowd of people start advancing so he can lift up that AR and just start firing, man. You can tell this guy is ready to go. He wants to be able to use that to kill someone today. Like, he is just begging someone to step forward.
A little bit. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's only been escalating more and more. They've been trying to push us back, but every time they push us back, we get our feet back and stuff. He's got that thing kitted out.
It's
just crazy.
So when you say push forward, push back, how far are we talking?
We're talking just the Pershing. They have not crossed Pershing. So from where we're at right here, they were actually at the end of the alley. Now you can see they've made some ground, but they pushed us all the way back to Pershing, and then we were able to come back here. But we're trying to keep it peaceful now because it's been getting a little too chaotic right now.
We see police are between the protesters and ICE. Oh, we're seeing the crowd move here, John. I think we better move with it.
Okay, shit's about to go down. They're CS gassing houses. This is like
report.
The level of evil.
Here a home. This is on Chicago. This is in Chicago, just southwest of downtown, near the intersection of 40th.
Now, as you can imagine, yes, that gas could totally get in and seep into one of those houses adjacent to where it's now wafting up that gas. And yes, it can get inside. It can squeeze through relatively small cracks in the house. And yes, it could theoretically get into, say, a baby's crib. That is what I imagined the moment I saw that gas wafting around those houses. Is like whichever house they intended to gas up with that CS gas, I'm pretty sure the adjacent houses, which could totally have like sleeping kids in the next room, are themselves also getting gassed.
And McKenzie, where we've seen protesters clash with immigration and customs enforcement, as well as Department of Homeland Security and Chicago police. And we've seen that ICE has been throwing tear gas as a means to control and disperse the crowd.
Yeah, hopefully the houses are positively pressurized and it just pushes air out.
If you want your goggles.
Right.
Yeah, this gas is very irritating, even if you just get a little whiff of it. Oh yeah, someone just walked into a big cloud of it. She walked into a big cloud. It is like that. Like if you walk into like a little of it and it gets into your eyes, you'll. Yeah, that's the ICE guys driving off. And they fired one out on the crowd as they drove away. They fired another CS gas grenade.
Yeah.
No, they didn't toss it out the window.
DHS
I think they fired it out with a launcher.
From the scene along McKenzie.
I'm pretty sure I saw a launcher. Let me rewind that. So this is the ICE guys in here. Oh yeah, no, he threw it out, and this guy in response kicked a dent into the side of their vehicle. That's crazy. And they blast them with more CS gas. Trump wants the streets of Chicago to look like this so he can justify escalating
so what we've seen
further.
Here is we've seen DHS authorities pulling back away from the scene along McKenzie, and as they're doing so, they're throwing out, it sounded like, they threw out flashbangs, they've thrown out tear gas, you can feel it in the air, that's why I'm wearing these goggles, stinging the eyes, stinging the throat. We saw it reducing people to tears and shrieks and screams of pain as authorities are already withdrawing and the scene is being taken over by Chicago police. But as a parting gift on the way out, the federal government is sending one more fuck you to the residents of Chicago in the form of brutality after already shooting one person down here just southwest of downtown Chicago.
Water, water.
Got to you.
No, this feels like a third world country. You know, I mean, the United States is built on immigrants. I mean, if you want to be, a true American, you have to be native Indian. Those are the owners of these lands. You know, and people say, oh, you people go back to to Mexico, for example. I mean, same thing we can say for Europeans, Asians. For the rest.
I'm sorry, but the idea that Texans are the go-to people who say, go back to Mexico, to Latinos from Mexico, is crazy. Do they not know their state's own history?
So everyone, but we're all equal. We all come to the United States to make our dreams come true.
So what are you feeling then when the federal government is down here shooting people?
They forgot
tear
the
gassing,
Alamo.
throwing flashbangs. What are the emotions that you're feeling?
I feel we're getting targeted, especially right now. The Latino community. Them basically hitting up.
Oh.
Woo.
I feel like one of the most valuable things you could do at these protests as an activist is to be good at flying a drone. Like, bring a couple of drones that you're competent at flying and record everything from the air and get a close enough view that you can see what's going on while also having a wide enough view that you can see everything. Because sometimes shit like this just happens where everyone's standing still, everyone's just talking, things have calmed down, and then out of nowhere it escalates from 10 to 100 instantly. I'd be really interested to see if you're able to also, even if it is illegal to fly a drone above the street, you're in a crowd of people and there's a line of police and stuff. What are they gonna shoot down the drone? Who knows? But I feel like it would be valuable to get that aerial footage, because if it's a case of everybody's just chilling and then all of a sudden the cops start firing CS gas into the crowd, not the cops in this case, but ICE and the National Guard of Texas start firing CS gas into the crowd, then I feel as though you would just get all that on footage undeniably. What was the crowd doing in that video that justified them firing that volley? From a view like this, it was caught on video, but we didn't really get to see what led to this escalation we're seeing now. Oh, that might be an ICE vehicle. I think, because ICE uses unmarked vans. I think those are ICE vehicles. That's what caused this. That's another one, I'm guessing. They're all vans. Yeah, these are ICE vans. They go somewhere, they start a bunch of chaos in the street, and then they leave. You've noticed this is what they're doing. They go somewhere, they gas up the street, they cause a bunch of chaos, and they just zoom away to another part of the city to do the same thing to another group of people. I'm not joking. They're doing this to Latino neighborhoods all across Chicago. Their goal is to create as much chaos as possible so that this footage and all the videos of this, they can put it on Fox News, and Trump can say, Chicago is falling into war. I need to deploy the United States military to put things under control, and the leaders in Chicago need to be held accountable legally. That's where this is going. He wants to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Watch out!
More ICE vehicles. These are all unmarked ICE vans. All of these are ICE vehicles. Maybe not that truck, but probably. Yeah, these trucks probably are too. Yeah. Damn, it's getting pretty obvious to be able to tell what vehicles may and may not be ICE undercover in their unmarked vans. Is this every street in Chicago? No, just the Latino and POC neighborhoods. I think they threw a CS gas as they drove away, and that person just threw it on the opposite side of the street from where everyone's at. Probably got a good whiff of it while they were at it. Yeah, you gotta clear out. Like, even if you can't see the gas in the air, it's still bad enough to fuck you up. Like, the area where the gas is visibly in the air is just where it's so bad it'll put you on the ground.
We all have to make that choice. That's why we're here right now.
But you don't have to answer to that. I will.
Yeah,
I'll have to answer to whatever comes in the future.
Yes, you will.
And that's just where we're going to be, you know?
And it's like that. Is that the side that you want to be on? Is that where you want to end up? Because that's not right.
It just depends.
I like this.
You know, I personally don't believe that we're doing anything wrong. Not as a whole. Yeah. I don't speak as a whole because I don't.
I do wish more often the protesting line would, like, talk to the cops like this. Like, genuinely try to push them on their morals. Like, do you believe what you're doing is right? Do you think that, like, in the history books that your kids or grandkids are going to read, do you think they're going to be proud of what side of history you were on? Like, I really think that's effective. Lots of times they're ordered to not respond. Still, they can hear you. Think they can't hear it? Do you think they're not still thinking about it, even if they're not responding and they're staying silent? Oh, they're thinking on it. Hell, you know, even if you just leave them with something to think about, that doesn't leave them alone for a while, that's something, right? Do you think we'll eventually get a situation where people start shooting at the cops? I hope not, because that's going to mean so many dead civilians and, like, passerbys in the street. Like, if someone in the back of the crowd starts firing off shots at the cops, there's, like, a 100% chance that, like, dozens of people are going to get shot in the crossfire. Like, that's... Open fighting in the streets of America between police and Americans would be really bad. Remember, all our buildings are made of, like, sheetrock and drywall, okay? Like, bullets pass through our buildings so easily unless they're old construction. So, like, stray bullets are going to be flying through the walls of buildings and going into multiple rooms. You know, it's going to be a nightmare if the cities of America are full of active gunfights with the police. Like, that is a nightmare scenario for America.
Represent the agency. Obviously, I work for the agency, but I can't speak for the agency as a whole, and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
You know? All I want is this, peaceful. You guys are, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's safe today.
We appreciate this.
Everybody's
I don't appreciate
safe.
the guy out there with a giant, like, a sniper rifle or whatever that he's got. Like, I mean, you know, obviously we have to, you know, be ready for anything, right? You've got,
but
like,
this is what it's supposed to be.
police officers
But this
here.
is what it's supposed to be here.
Why does that guy...
Like, hear me out, guys. Why should a protest, logically speaking, and I know that most of you guys, I'm not needing to convince here, but for the, possible middle ground person who watches this, why should there be a heavily armed police presence at a protest? Like, think about it. And I know you might be thinking, oh, well, it could turn into a riot. Do me a favor and Google the statistics on what percentage of protests in America evolve, or I guess you could say devolve, into riots, or any kind of violence. It's a very small percentage, especially when you filter for left-wing protests, stuff like BLM. Much lower percentage chance of violence than most gatherings of people. And yet we don't have massive squads of armed police at most parades or big street festivals or whatever. Are there some cops present? Yeah, they're there to make sure everyone's safe and nothing crazy happens, but they don't have masks on. They're not, like, sitting up on posts with snipers ready to start firing into the crowd if people get too crazy. Like, Why is it that when people exercise their First Amendment right to protest, a crowd of people are treated like any moment they could go feral and start killing people, but we don't treat a crowd of people the same at a festival or a parade or something? These settings, we're like, yeah, it's a big gathering of people, but it's not dangerous. Why in this case, a group of people using their right to protest, why is that considered a danger that requires actively being ready to shoot at the crowd? Why are protests special in that way? Yeah, where's the massive police at stadiums? Those are bigger than these protests, etc. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to a lot of sports in a lot of cities, there's riots whether it's win or lose when it comes to the big games of the year, you know? And the police don't get this they don't respond like this before it even happens.
There, I assume he's like your leader because he's got the microphone. Why has he got that big old rifle out there?
I have no clue.
Right? That doesn't make any sense. Like, do you think that makes sense for me, as a person who lives in this community for over 25 years,
I get it.
to see people coming in here in these monster trucks and saying that, like, we're the danger?
Nobody expects you guys to feel any specific certain type of way.
How would you expect us to act?
I can't expect you to feel safe if you don't
we
feel
safe.
We feel
scared?
I can't expect
we
you
feel
to feel
overrun?
Scared if
like,
you're scared.
My neighbors are afraid to leave their houses?
No, I understand.
This is terror.
Common sense. I understand.
This doesn't make
I
any
understand
sense.
that. I wouldn't feel.
Yeah, that would be upsetting, right? If we came into your neighborhood and started terrorizing
the situation, you know.
This here you're seeing
you can tell that cop, like, internally is realizing he doesn't have a moral defense for what he's doing right now. His only real defense is, it's my job. I'm supposed to be here. I will say, I like that this cop opted for the Rick Grimes style revolver. It's not a Colt Python, but I think it might be one of the. It definitely might be a Colt revolver, though. I can't really tell, but it kind of looks like it.
Authorities who are taking over this scene from the federal law enforcement. Taking. You can see over there we've got Border Patrol boarding a minivan over there. As Chicago police take up guarding the perimeter.
Always
Brandon
record them.
Johnson has said, and Chicago police have said, that the police will not be cooperating with ICE on any of their operations, and yet we see them down here helping hold the line, helping protect immigrations and customs enforcement as they process this scene here where, again, there was a shooting. At least one person.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see this as them helping the ICE guys or the Texas National Guard guys. Like, we've covered a lot of protests here on the channel, like a lot of protests, and how do we always see the police dressed at those protests? Like these guys. Like the ICE dudes. They're always dressed like this when they're there to suppress a crowd. These cops are dressed in like their everyday, like, street patrol wear. Like, none of them are carrying riot equipment. It's very clear that they were not ordered and are not there to do what the ICE guys are there to do, which is suppress the protests and suppress the crowds. What they are there to do is, because this is the city that they patrol and that they run, is to be present and make sure shit doesn't get out of hand. I would not be surprised that they've been given orders to try and keep the crowd from antagonizing the Texas National Guard and ICE dudes, because these guys serving Trump will absolutely start firing on the crowd the second they've got an excuse. Or vice versa. It could be vice versa. That's true. But keep in mind, the leadership of the city of Chicago are very against Trump on this. That includes the leadership of the Chicago Police Precinct.
Was shot by federal authorities.
I mean, I know, like, I don't know exactly what happened. I came here maybe an hour ago, but I do show here, with all the ICE raids happening, I'm Latino, so, any Latino could be walking the streets, get profiled right away. I don't think our president, Trump, is doing anything better, to help with the situation. He needs to de-escalate this because it's out of control, Well, the United States needs to unite.
Jesus
and,
Christ.
What's happening here, people are tired of...
This is what they're launching the CS gas with, by the way. These are launchers. What they've got aimed and ready. You can see they've got these masks on because they are anticipating firing lots of gas rounds.
You know, all the injustices that happen every day. You know, Latinos are hardworking people. They come here to work. You know, they come to, other than come to work, the support of their families. I mean, there's a lot of, good things, but them separating families and everything, I don't think it's right,
And certainly you're down here to make your voice heard, I think. Were you down here on this street when they were setting off the flashbangs and throwing the tear gas canisters?
Some of them I was. It is a kind of shame that, our own, military, ICE, FBI, our agents basically, hurting their own citizens, This is not presidential, The times that we're going through right now, hopefully God, helps America, but because the way it's going, it's gonna get...
America lost God's favor a long time ago.
Worst.
I was at my house, I heard chanting, I came out, and it looked like ICE was trying to come at the community. A lot of people were chanting, fuck ICE, ICE go home, and they just kept getting closer and closer. They kept grabbing their canisters, like if they were gonna do something. They kept laughing, it just seemed like they were trying to bait us, like they were trying to have somebody approach them so they can go ahead and, I don't know.
The ICE officers were actually coming closer and closer when the crowd would stay about the same position?
We would lock arms and try to not take the bait. We would chant, don't take the bait, don't take the bait, because it looked like they were trying to bait us. And that's when CBD came in and they backed them up, and CBD was in the middle between us and the ICE agents.
So then what led up to, we were down here for some tear gas. What led up to that?
They just kept trying to make their, turf wider, and they kept trying to go into the community.
ICE is desperate to antagonize them into violence. They need the streets to look like they're full of war, chaos, and crime. This is all about Trump manufacturing the visuals he needs to coincide with his Chicago is out of control narrative. Once enough people believe it, he can justify sending in the military to start rounding people up.
And as they were doing that, they kept putting their arms on. I saw somebody get, ICE officer put arms on the girl and to kept pushing her, and it just started getting louder. More come in, and they just almost cuddle you. And that's, at that point, the tear gas had went off because I guess it happened somewhere else. But they were being huddled. They were almost I don't know, it was a setup almost. They were trying to, not, getting as close to somebody and then barricading them, and then you just saw the tear gas going.
I mean, they would group groups of protesters.
Yeah, they would group people of protesters. There was one girl I was trying to stay close to because she was alone and she was surrounded by at least 6 ICE agents, and I tried to get her out of there and they would just start pushing. At that point I had to back off. I didn't want to get hurt.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. No, I got tear gas 3 times. I got milk all over me. We have children in this neighborhood. As they were leaving, ICE was...
By the way, if you get tear gas, CS gas, or really anything that's meant to burn you with spice, milk is the go-to. Milk is the go-to. It neutralizes capsaicin pretty well. I'm pretty sure that's what they use to make CS gas just fuck you up. I'm pretty sure the C in CS gas stands for capsaicin. I could be wrong, though. Regardless, though, this has been a pretty enlightening look into what's happening in Chicago right now. I don't usually buy into the whole the media is covering this up thing, but there's definitely not been as much media coverage of what's going on right now, or at least not enough to show exactly how bad it is. I haven't seen that broadly being shown by the media. This has definitely been the most clear look I've had at how rough things have gotten with Trump's essential war he's waging on the people of Chicago and on blue cities in general. I'm sorry, whenever I'm doing my outro, I always have to burp so bad. That said, though, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever and you want to support my content, it really does help if you leave a like on the stream or the video, and a comment as well. Every like and comment, totally free, but really does a lot to boost the channel and the algorithm, and I appreciate it. Especially with how much the YouTube algorithm favors right-wing grift content. You guys supporting me in any way possible really does mean a lot. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more from me. Follow my social medias, linked down below if you want to see more from me on other platforms, particularly my fan Discord, as that's the main hub of my fan base and community. Make sure to follow me there. And of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xanderhall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xanderhall merchandise through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support the stream, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I hope you have a good one.